Welcome everyone to this episode of your Freedom Hub's Free Market Cash Patient. I'm your host, Jeff Cantor, along with Charles Froman. We are sponsored by a number of great organizations, so we'll certainly discuss briefly. We are also the interrupting point for all of the disruptors in the world. So we're glad you're here today, and we've got another really exciting one with us yet tonight. We are recording all these for posterity. So these are the various channels, but you can go to this view all the videos link here, which is case sensitive, and this will kind of take you to the main hub. I'll show you that here momentarily. And because we are the medical program, we're trying to break the reality of what's been causing all these difficulties out there. So this is a great encapsulation of the whole situation. And one of the sponsor vehicles is we're using is an award-winning app called WOW. And this thing allows you to book cash appointments and be able to find out all the cash doctors and compare pricing in a completely unencumbered way, separated from insurance and any other aspect of kind of limiting your choices or understanding all of your options and all of the true prices out there. So this is a great situation, and you'll be able to come to this web link and take a look at it for yourself. Let's take a peek, as I said, to where we're going. So if you're starting at the main information hub, which is mphealthwealthfreedom.com, you'll see there's a variety of drop downs. Well, lo and behold, under this home one here, it's got information and events, and that's how we circulate around what we're doing for today here. So in this instance, we show the two different shows. We did one earlier today. Here we are tonight. We'll come back to this momentarily. And then you'll be able to see the guests coming up. And then also these are now the best location to come to find these links to watch the old shows. So it's a good example. This show will be posted on Brighteon as well as all those others over the weekend. You'll be able to come here every Monday, as it were, and find all of the shows. They're all really fantastic. Doesn't matter if they're a week old or a year and a half old. There are really some fantastic stuff in here you'll definitely want to see, share, join the network under our banner. You'll love it. Now, the other thing too is after today, we want to keep going because there's some great topics. So it's not the end, it's just the beginning. And so here's your chance to connect with some of these great speakers on a regular basis to follow up, help further their cause, become a participant, and so on. And a big part of it is that some of these organizations are trying to get legislation done, or they've got health issues, or a whole variety of things. But in the instances where there's issues and things to be dealing with, then underneath the Fighting for Freedom tab, which will be under Freedom, the very first drop down here, these are all of the current issues and actions that you need to be taking advantage of, because all of these freedom fighting organizations might have an individual pet project. They need to get legislation passed. They need you to make phone calls, and they're, guess what, soliciting their phone list or their email list. But all these other organizations have phone lists too, and they're not getting that information out. So here's the place to come and find out what everybody's trying to get fixed. And ideally, you should click on all of them and take advantage of helping all those organizations. As I indicated, this is the WOW's landing page, and you can watch the video and learn more. And before we get into a little concluding situation here related to your health, let's jump in the middle of today and find out who our guest is. So on that note, I'm going to scroll back to this page because, again, this is the way to disseminate the information, and I'm going to give Charles the privilege of talking about our guests today.
And it is a privilege, Jeff. Thank you, and welcome, Jim. Jim is a man over the hearts of Jeff and myself because he's a true believer, like Jeff and I are. You know, we have that cash patient making plan that Forbes featured and which is embedded in that award-winning Cash Appointments app. And we're doing it to make a little money, but also to change the world. Because when you allow patients to shop on price, that saves them money, it drives competition and quality, and broadens choices, including natural care. And we want to have an integrated market in healthcare, so we're not forced to choose allopathic or natural. We want all of the above. And Jim offers an image, a vision, if you will, of the market awaiting us if we do change the market. Because his Pavilion project, tangibly would probably take over some of these bankrupt malls and replace them with this that you're seeing, this big pavilion full of all of the state-of-the-art in healing modalities of all types. And it's actually a vision that Disney had for his EPCOT Center so many decades ago that never really was fulfilled. So we know that patients aren't really pleased with the current health market, and there are so many entrepreneurs out there just dying to give us these incredible integrated facilities to give us the state of the art in health. Jim has the right background for this. He has worked at hospitals in Harrisburg, and he has managed facilities at giant institutions like the Kennedy Center in DC. He's a very major film producer, starting out at the National Press Club in DC. He likes to do something rare, and that is called investigation, and get to the truth of some of these controversial issues. He has some great product out there. Ask him about any kind of controversial issue that you want to. He'll have a story for you that'll rock your world. So lately, his thing is Pavilion, and we're looking forward, Jeff, to hearing his pitch.
All right. Very, very good. Well, Jim, I'm going to give you the floor, so I'm going to stop sharing and allow you to take over.
All right. Am I live?
You are officially live.
Thanks. Thank you. Hey, Disney's the original vision for EPCOT is what it stands for. It's more than, well, health, but as a community. Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. So it was, the original idea was an organic kind of a community that would health industry, the best of American ingenuity, bring it all together so people could, have a better quality of life, really. Of course, it devolved into a tourist attraction, really, but let's move on. Okay, so I'll do a screen share in a minute. I just want to mention, I guess, I started in restaurants. I decided I was at the Kennedy Center, and I thought the world was kind of sliding downhill more than I was happy about. So I thought, well, I had a background in communications also, so why don't I become a TV producer, which is what I did, actually. So I picked up enough training, went into this career from a management side, and then learned to be a producer, writer, director, all of that, and started a company in the National Press Building, which was an amazing time for me. I mean, filming and being with every week. I was the guy at the press club actually working with them, filming everyone from Jay Leno to Margaret Thatcher to UFO disclosure projects, all kinds of things. So it was really cool. I continued, though, as a producer, a lot of my work really focused around health and science. And then that got me into advocacy work as well with the vaccine safety, with water fluoridation, mercury in the environment, and so on, EPA hearings, and I did a lot for many years. One thing I found in my travels was there were amazing discoveries, amazing technologies, amazing people out there, and I was getting blown away all the time. And I'll give you some examples later, but the point was nobody knew about these things. Maybe in one case because, well, they're disruptive, as you were saying, Charles. Disruptive technologies, disruptive ideas that were going to disturb the profits. Meanwhile, as I was telling someone, I filmed up at Johns Hopkins, one of the former big VP for one of the drug companies. And afterwards I said, come on, and the camera is, you guys have had the cure for cancer for many years, haven't you? I mean, really? And he said, is the camera off? Yeah, it was. He said, yeah, we've had the cure for cancer for 50 years. They're not going to release it. There's too much money there. And that's just one of, 100 things I kept hearing. And I finally said, okay, a show isn't going to do it. What's going to get this information to people, these new modalities, these therapies that they can have hands-on access to, a pipeline, so to speak, And that's where my mind went back to the World's Fair pavilions. It went to EPCOT Center, to theme parks, which, you know, I think a lot of us or most of us love. They're great. It's fun. To put something in there that's like a next generation science center, where you can combine all of these things and then, you know, walk through and be just amazed and get what you need as well. So educate and then have the products there. So with that, so I need to do a screen share again. Hit the button. I'm hitting the button. Let's see.
Here it comes.
You see it?
Yes.
You are screen sharing. So do we have my pavilion slide up?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. Actually, before I get to that, let me back up one. Here's the problem. Okay. So I think of the pavilion as whack. So everything is out of whack. And today it's really out of whack, which is why we really need these things. So it's a community hub, because community is so important. You can do all these things from, you know, I want to lose weight, I'm going through a cancer or a treatment or something. We need to support each other. So that's the idea behind this, the best that science, humanity, and medicine have to offer, so we can live happier, healthier, more meaningful lives. I hit the right way, okay. So again, like LA Fitness on steroids, or cross between a World's Fair, Canyon Ranch, and EPCOT. That's basically what we're looking at. There is a commercial promo you can look at later. We don't need to see my background, but it's there. You freeze it later. The main components, and I'll kind of run through these, is the Life Sciences Center. That is a 501c3, and that kind of helps educate and drive traffic. And we have our medical side, our practice, which we're going to brand as American New Medicine. We've got websites, we've got curricula, and we're hoping to get this out and then form a network of doctors that will be using American New Medicine, basically. Med spa, healing spa, fitness, of course, a learning center with arts, different food and beverage outlets like farm-to-table dining, bookstore, cafe, that sort of thing. You did see I have club and dancing in there. I think dancing is important because there will be events and such. Curated retail stores, artisans, a little bit of the torpedo factory, perhaps for those of you who live in this area know what I'm talking about. Pavilion Social, which is really activities, again, bringing the community together. And then what's behind the scenes is video content, content acquisition, distribution, and sales, and however we package that, or for our own channel. But everything will be wired up. WTS International is a leisure services, kind of healthy living company. They're in 30 countries, 30 plus countries. And they did a full feasibility study on this and said the pavilion may well be the first concept to successfully capture that elusive 70% of the market that health clubs have traditionally tried and failed to attract. That's a big deal, I think. And if you look at the little graphic on the right there, fitness in a particular market accounts for like 8 to 15% of the people. If you add in massage and some of these wellness components, you get about 30%. And if you really broaden that to well-being, which is what we're doing, that encompasses 70% of the market, and that's what we're going to be looking for. We have detailed marketing plans. I'm not going over them now. Corporate structure, we can be asset heavy or asset light. It's very flexible right now, which is good. Financial projections, everything's, let's just say, industry, at least industry average. So we'll skip past that. Starting management lineup, I don't know that I need to go through these right now. It's on the website, and everybody on this team is the tops in their field. They're really good people and love the concept. World-class advisory board, just quickly, Gary Hankin, who is president of WTS, is on our board. Jim Turner. Jim Turner is kind of attorney emeritus in Washington. He is largely responsible for helping getting acupuncture in this country legalized and getting us organic food standards. And then we have Ibrahim, Dr. Kareem with the biogeometry, another brilliant, I mean, internationally renowned guy. And I like it, my friend up in the corner there, we have a Shaolin monk on our board. So he brings a lot to the table too. And don't piss him off, that's all I can tell you. No, he's, so, and that mind, body, spirit, he's into that. And he does a lot of lecturing as well around the world. The why. So the pavilion can address many core issues. And I put health there first, just like we've been talking about, because obviously, you know, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything really. So it is important. We really need to focus on that. And that's a big draw for us, for people. We want to come together with that. So a couple of big quotes here. Conventional medical approaches are failing, even in the most advanced nations in the world, PricewaterhouseCoopers. And then you've got in the major journals and the industry itself is saying, the medical industry itself says between 1/3 and 1/2 of all medical knowledge has been shown to be false. Now, I'm betting that 2/3 of the people in this country or more aren't even familiar with that statement, which has been around since really 2010. We've known this. And this is exactly why PricewaterhouseCoopers can say, well, everything's failing. Sure, because when you go to your doctor, you've got a 30 to 50% chance that what they're telling us, you is wrong. And they don't know that either. These are the foundations of medical science we're talking about. So that's a huge problem, and it's out there. What's this problem doing? Well, now we have 1 in 6 kids with behavioral disorders, Alzheimer's, asthma, allergies, cancer, everything's skyrocketing. Autism, if you haven't heard this, is projected to be 1 in every other child by 2030. 70% of Americans over 45 are chronically ill, and the median age for the start of chronic disease is now 27. So these are alarming statistics. They're alarming numbers, and that's why we need to do something. And part of that, of course, deals right with the insurance problem, as Charlie and Jeff were talking about. In the US, what is called health insurance is really mostly not insurance, but a prepaid medical plan. And this screws up everything. That's technical. And if you guys want to, well, we can talk about this later. And there's another piece to it. Most people don't need insurance that supports an allopathic medicine that can do more harm in some cases than good. A lot of people, and I'll point out this young child here, generally they need but they can't get real health care and self-health education. And then you don't really need to be worried about health care, I mean, except for catastrophic where you can have that and, you know, in case of an emergency, but we want to keep everybody healthy and doing well into their, you know, 90s or forever. Another reason why, just to point out, because this personally also bothers me, half of our kids, 0 to 17, are on prescription drugs. I mean, this is just out of control, and we can use natural therapies and community and support to change all of this. So we have a new health paradigm we're introducing. Part of this is based on the agreement, well, that stress, AMA, NIH, they agree that stress is behind at least 90% of all disease. We think of stress as emotional. Oh yeah, my job, my family, whatever it is. But stressors are actually, stress on the body comes from all kinds of things. Food additives, plastics, chemicals, radiations, allergens, mold. And it's cumulative, it's largely ignored by conventional medicine. I mean, if you go to your doctor, they're not going to ask you typically, you know, how often do you use your cell phone? What kind of, you know, foods do you eat at home? Do you look at the labels? So That's a big deal. And it's gotten so bad, or maybe good, I don't know. If you see these magazines, these are beautiful magazines they're called What Doctors Don't Tell You. These are published now in the UK and in the United States. It's a great magazine. I subscribe. I highly recommend it. They have great articles. And wow, okay. So just a quick look at what some of these stressors are. And it includes, as I said, toxins in our foods, over-the-counter medications. Look at this. I mean, popular drugs linked to dementia. Tylenol. 55,000 people go to the emergency room every year because of Tylenol. And this goes on and on. So again, education, using better products. Our personal care products, we have the same thing. This is one example. A lot of the things this woman has on or is using, from shampoos, etc., have stressors in them. Our clothing as well. Those dryer sheets, which smell so good, are actually VOCs, volatile organic compounds. They're not good for us. Incidentally, I have 3 programs on YouTube about toxins that we're all facing these days. They're all like 10 minutes. And they're being used at American University to educate students on this. So I was very excited about that. Most people are now flame retardant. I'm sure you wanted to know that. It's funny, but it's not funny at the same time. Same thing, of course, you know this, our phones, our wireless tech, our dirty electricity. Fillings, that's been a big thing that I know plenty of people have been fighting for, to get the silver amalgam fillings out because they're 50% mercury. And when they off-gas mercury into the body, and that causes all kinds of problems. And we know it's a neurotoxin. And what people also, just to show you, Wi-Fi devices increase mercury release from dental amalgams. So, we're like antennas. Heavy metals, another thing we want to clear out of people. You might have heard about this. That's a great test you can do at home for heavy metal toxicity. Check your pulse. Okay. I need a laugh track on here because I'm the only one, I don't hear anything. But you get the idea. So we're looking at American New Medicine as really functional medicine. The cornerstones are functional medicine, natural and energy medicine, and genomics and pharmacogenomics. And it's heavy on education for people and heavy on self-care. And Dr. McClure, who I thought was going to be with us, he might still join the call, works with a lot of these leaders, Klinghardt, Mercola, Cowden's on our board, in developing different protocols for detoxing people, for rebuilding the gut, all kinds of things, new assessment tools, et cetera. And that's what we're putting in with them into this American New Medicine. We feel can be really reach a lot more people, be more effective. There's new tools in there. This woman is lying on a pulsed electromagnetic field therapy mat. Now, you'd normally have to pay like $5,000 for these devices, but at the Pavilion, you can come in and it's just part of the spa. It's part of your membership. You can use it. It's all you need is an 8-minute session. Excuse me. And there's a couple of other similar devices. So we're making that available to people. That OnDemand, I'm just going to mention it because I used to run stop smoking clinics years ago using the OnDemand. It's a German frequency device. They have figured out different frequencies, for example, what the energy pattern and frequencies of nicotine addiction are. So in Europe, there are businesses that just use these to get people to stop smoking. We were doing the same thing. I was getting the 90-minute session with somebody, people that would come in, smoke 2 or 3 packs a day, and they would quit after that. I mean, just no desire to smoke anymore. There's more involved. I mean, you want to have social, give them a little training so they can use their time better and so on. But there's some great tools out there. And then the same thing, the WOW solution. to be able to have a more affordable in-house network of health plans and putting that relationship back that's just between the provider and the patient. So the doctor doesn't tell you, or whoever the provider is, well, I can't do that. There's a standard of care, and that's it. And you know, you're stuck, which isn't how healthcare is supposed to be. 21st century, I'm actually a certified biofeedback practitioner also, because, and I did that after learning about this device. I was so blown away. I said I need to like actually train on it and get certified, and I did that partly for myself. We wanted to have one at the house, and also to help my friends and family, and to work with Dr. McClure at the medical practice to see how to integrate these new devices as an assessment tool, and to work with other doctors. So it's been a great experience, and we kind of dialed that in. There's a lot happening in energy medicine. So this device I'm talking about, there's an Inductor, there's a Quest 9, there are a bunch of them, but the ones I'm working with will scan 12,000 health variables in like 3 minutes. So everybody at the Pavilion can come in, get a free scan once a month, track your own health. You can do more sessions or get treatments if you want, basically, or have sessions. And these are being used in 2,000 hospitals right now in China and Europe and other places. They've really been proven. I mean, I stopped heart palpitations with this. I didn't need to go to a cardiologist. I stopped some tremors. I was having some neuropathy happening. Took care of it. And I could go on, but it's really the future of medicine. So we're excited about this. I'm excited. And then we're going to have timeless medicine. I mean, nutritional therapies, homeopathy, naturopathic medicine. I mean, nature provides all of this stuff for us. So that's our first course. And actually, the frequencies are natural because they are mimicking, or they're actually not mimicking. They're the same as the actual products. So you can get the same results electronically. At least that will support you if you homeopathically or so on, as well as, but you want to have a good diet, know what herbs, and food as medicine menus that will be in our restaurants, so people know what they're eating and how it can help them. It's a positive feedback loop. World Health Organization, a group I'm not particularly happy with right now, but they did say something that was actually very good. And that is, health is not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. It's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. Whoa. Well, you can't get that from your doctor. You can't get it from any care provider, really, right? You can't get it at a hospital. So health, so what do we do? I mean, it's true. You walk in, we have a lot of people, and I've seen it at the practice, that come in and they need to get something done, but it's clear, for example, there are underlying emotional issues that are exacerbating their physical problems. Well, it's kind of hard to say, we think you should see a shrink or you got a problem. With biofeedback, first of all, it's easy to start naturally bringing these into the conversation. But with a Pavilion, all of this stuff kind of holistically comes into play, which is really exciting. Because we are all about social well-being, physical and mental, everything is there. We got the spa, and hopefully we'll have like a more natural med spa, the healing spa, energy spa, all kinds of cool things in there. And the community piece is big. A lot of this is open to the public. Learning center, the classes, the science center. We'll have on-the-job training, especially because there are new areas to learn in healthcare. Community gardens, time banks where you can barter and work with your community more closely. We'll offer free medical and dental programs for people that need it in the community. Sliding member pricing for millennials. Art exhibits, music, community town halls. Then we have lifelong education. Well, I mean, if you want. The idea that formal education for the first 2 decades of our life, as he says, as Dr. Barasti says, that's not going to hold you for the next 80 years, right? Or 60, whatever it is. Plus, if we just look over, Bill McKibben wrote this great book a while back, The Age of Missing Information, which goes back to a lot of the things we're living. Well, a lot of our society, our institutions are withholding information from us. So again, people don't know about these things we're talking about. It's an age of missing information. We're going to bring all of that back with all of these classes. I already met with president of the Maryland University for Integrative Health to do some programs, and we're looking for other administrators right now as well. And raising our emotional IQ. You know, in terms of intelligence and technology, we are stellar. But if you look at our emotional progress, it's like a flat line. We're still fighting, you know, wars. We're dysfunctional. We're uncomfortable with intimacy. We hate our jobs and bosses. A lot of times, we don't even like ourselves. So part of our mission is to really bring this out and fix it, to bring everyone together to go, okay, we have stuff we're going to work on. Let's do it. The genesis of the pavilion, I kind of mentioned, and I didn't put my timer on, but this is one slide. I've had it for a long time. I like it. Wouldn't it be great to wake up inspired every day? That's kind of my feeling behind this project, because that's what I've been so often. So the World Fair people, they said, yeah, let's show people the best of the future. Great. Well, I thought, why don't we go one better and deliver to people the best of the future so they can enhance their lives today? And that's basically what we're doing. The pavilion, where people can come together to expand their minds, rejuvenate their bodies, and nourish their souls. Now we have to have the angelic music come up or something. Ta-da! Okay.
Yay.
The heart and mind of the pavilion is the Life Sciences Center, because it really helps educate people. Why do these therapies work? Why do these things I'm talking to you about, these biofeedback devices and frequencies, or why is massage good for you? When you have scientists telling people why, people get it, and they're much more, according to a study, 70% more likely to try it. So we're driving traffic, raising awareness to make life extraordinary. Again, missing information, we don't need to dwell on it. This is a famous American physicist, says basically everything you know is wrong. That's kind of depressing. Let's go ahead. But it's true. To put it in Greg Braden's words, I filmed him last year. He's a best-selling author and scientist. New discoveries have overturned the last 150 years of thinking, of scientific thinking. That's a big deal. I mean, and I have a program on Gaia with Conscious Acts of Creation with Dr. Tiller, who said, with what we know now, we can enhance every technology out there and even create new ones. I mean, this is big stuff. And our mission at the Science Center is to introduce this to the public, to research today's most pressing and relevant issues, and to serve as a resource for the community, policymakers, and to inspire public action that strengthens communities, advances global stewardship, and enables us to forge a better path forward. I really like this Science Center, if you haven't picked that up. And so we used to have, physics was Newtonian physics, Newtonian mechanics, classical physics. The universe is matter. Now we've gone to the universe is energy, quantum physics. And your thoughts, just as a part of this, quantum physics, by the way, quantum mechanics, is responsible for our digital revolution. And everything we're seeing today in our computing and so forth. But on a personal level, on a practical level, it also says your thoughts have a direct effect on how the physical world around you unfolds. As my friend said, it's not about knowing your thoughts can change your world. It's knowing how to do that. Now, we're not cutting edge. Pavilion is not coming out with things people haven't heard of. I'd say we're leading edge. All of this has been introduced. A lot of these people, you may have heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, Lynn McTaggart, and on and on and on, Deepak Chopra. All of this is out there. So we're not breaking new ground. We're bringing all of this pioneering stuff together in one place. With exhibits that are relevant to today's society, to life. Like with Environmental Working Group, we're looking at having an exhibit on foods and what's in, the additives and what's in your perfume. Rodale Institute, organic versus biodynamic or conventional farming and agriculture. Food and Water Watch, Eternia, had a great talk with them, rethinking death and dying. I mean, there is so much out there now about that, and I'll go into that later, but a lot of people are pretty freaked out, understandably, about death and dying. But there's so much evidence out there today, which we can have in this exhibit and start these conversations that can, I think, change that, how we approach that. Again, making life extraordinary. So quantum physics validates all of these things, which is why you're not hearing much about it in the news. Acupuncture, homeopathy, which they're still fighting against at the FDA, energy medicine. So it also supports hands-on and remote healing. And I've got some great videos from that guy, for example. Oh, you didn't hear that. Researcher up in Boston. Amazing stuff they're doing. Non-polluting power generation. I've seen this. Extrasensory perception, absolutely real, and we can all do this. Immortality, but in a different way, not transhumanism. Warp drive, absolutely proven. In fact, it's part of Einstein's general relativity. Anti-gravity, angels, aliens, it's all possible. And just so you get a picture of this, I'd like to see this exhibit as somewhere between a Science Center and a Ripley's, believe it or not. In other words, a little bit of showmanship in there. So you want to draw people in, and then everybody's going to be very credible on the information. You can use these skills for business. I'm going to skip past this. He forecast all his silver earnings, did very well. Success factors and strategic partnerships. We're aligned with all of the leading trends, medicine, lifestyles. We're a market maker. We're a go-to place and brand, as I see it. There's no lifestyle brand like ours. We have the feasibility studies. Let me move on. There's no direct competition. Everything is piecemeal. COVID politics right now, that's the one to look at. All of these gyms, these restaurants, we're seeing a lot of places closing up. Private practices, I got a letter from one of my healthcare providers saying their practice is closing. COVID has diminished people's trust in medicine, opening the door for us. So there's a lot of, I think there's going to be a lot of demand really pent up, opening up in the new year that we can fill. Plus, of course, real estate pricing is going to be in our favor. The Pavilions building is the first of its kind. Well, the building itself, designed by Dr. Kareem, but we'll have other architects working, is actually the first in this country to support your health. So just by walking in, this building will support your health. You don't have to get on the treadmill. It's still a good idea, but the building will do that. It's because of the angles, the architecture, just like the Great Pyramids. And they figured out the science. They're teaching it overseas. I would bet 99% of the architects here have never heard of it. I talked to a few. They don't know about this. So we're going to bring this forward. It could be a whole new avenue as well for classes and teaching and revenue and so on. And for you can refit things so your home is safe, and we'll have these products available. Make it better to neutralize wireless radiation and such. And then we're going to have country club and social activities to engage, offer more deeper connections for people and more engagement opportunities. Success factors, WTS International, they're all over the world. Operational. Cine Little, same thing, from Universal Studios to cruise ships. And I know these people personally, good guys. The chairman emeritus actually has a farm on the eastern shore of Maryland, very concerned with the environment. We'll bring these things in. This is and there are science partner, the biogeometry group based in Montreal right now, as well as Cairo. Amazing stuff. I recommend this book, Back to a Future for Mankind, to anybody. You can pick it up on Amazon. Dr. McClure is co-founder of one of the largest integrated practices on the East Coast. So we've been working on this together. I've also been working with the DC Archangels, an angel investor group, to have a American Innovation Center in the Life Sciences Center, teaching entrepreneurship, angel investing, bringing people together, and also highlighting maybe 10 or 15 startups every quarter, because I've seen some amazing companies out there. And I think it'd be really cool if people just in the community, you can walk around and see what's out there and perhaps invest in these things if you want, or get involved or support them. I mean, there's some exciting stuff. Eternia, by the way, was founded by astronaut Edgar Mitchell and the Harvard neurosurgeon, Dr. Alexander. And like I said, I've talked with these people, and we'd love to do an event, exhibit together. And that would bring a lot of attention to us as well. I've been working on TED Talks, but we call them transition talks, with John Peterson. John Peterson is a futurist, pretty amazing guy. He actually nominated, or he was a former Navy pilot, almost Secretary of the Navy. He's local, runs the Arlington Institute, and we've had great speakers in, so we have access to a lot of these people. And there's some links. You can watch I'm not going to do it now because I don't know what my time is, but there's a little promo you can link to here, and some really cool stuff, some great people. So we'll achieve success. We will achieve success by making people more successful, happier, healthier, with a radically better quality of life. And that's through biogeometry. I think we did that through urban agriculture and aquaponics, which we will have there also as a backup. I talk about these communities being like a Renaissance future where we can radically enjoy that life. 20-minute high-tech workout, you don't break a sweat. It's pretty cool, actually. We have natural foods. We don't need the fertilizers. Our cell phones are safe. Pavilions are a community hub. There's a weekly talk like that. You can have dinner and listen to one of these people. It's what I call uncompromised living. So we've already gotten interest from developers and architects. I haven't, well, so to move forward, imagine just walking downstairs for your fitness, your dining, your classes, your TED Talks, your social events, and more. And that's kind of, right now we see a glut of this mall space and retail space. And I saw this article, Amazon and mall operators look at turning Sears, JCPenney stores into fulfillment centers. And I'm thinking, oh man, how about pavilions? That would be a real fulfillment center. So these are kind of things we're looking at. The Lifestyle Village, which is a new community going up in eastern Montgomery County, Maryland, right outside of Washington. Ironically, we've been invited to build a pavilion here. It's just getting underway there. And they are right next to the FDA campus, which I said God has a sense of humor. But if we can pull this off, this gives us a chance to influence global health with our science center, with what's going on. And there's a hospital going up there right now. We've already talked to them about combining studies. We'll do more integrative stuff, and we can send people back and forth. So I'm hoping, this comes to fruition. Example of a comment on the YouTube video from a developer. I'm looking forward to building a pavilion in all of our communities. It's the perfect manifestation of the healthy and sustainable initiative that this guy's working on. And instead of a pool and a clubhouse and a pool, he's thinking, if it can support it, let's put pavilions there. Next steps, we have them. We have different plans to build a pop-up experience, pavilion experience showroom, and then go out. I mean, there's different ways. We're still going to need an office, even if someone says, build a pavilion. But we're working on that. And I guess the last question is, where do we put the first one? DC, North Carolina, I'm here, Florida, Costa Rica would be nice. Or maybe we have them everywhere and have our own network. Somebody said to me once, build the field and they will come, from that movie. And I think we can do the same thing. And that pretty much wraps it up. I don't know how I did on time. I think I did pretty good, actually.
Not too bad.
Not too bad, huh?
Yeah, great walk around the park there.
Thank you.
Good. You know, if you only did a little more homework, you'd have a few more things going on in that place. That's really good, and you know, it is pretty funny because you and I have had this conversation from a long time already on this topic, well before all of what's happening currently. And like you just said, now look at the glut of real estate available to convert these things.
Yeah.
They just announced here, I'm in Cleveland, that the IX Center, which is originally was a tank manufacturing plant in World War II, and then was converted to like the boat show, the auto show, everything took place in there. It's closing its doors forever right now. So, yep, the world's opened up a lot of opportunities to rebuild the communities. Like you said, this could be a great opportunity.
Yeah.
This destruction of the world in certain ways could be a great rebirth.
It makes it easier. I mean, and that's the truth. In quantum physics, in chaos theory, actually, well, it's the motto of the Masons. Out of chaos comes order. And all you need to do is put a little bit of coherence into the chaos. And in our case, coherence for health and well-being and first payer, cash payer systems and so forth. And we can tip the scale in our favor. So it does work for us right now.
Very good. Charles, I see your hand up.
Thanks, Jeff, and fantastic vision, Jim. I certainly hope to consider a pavilion when, thinking about what to do tonight with the family or friends. If in the future we can go to a pavilion in some urban area or wherever we are worldwide, that would be great.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah.
If on our leading edge therapies in there, along with all the other services, education, wine bar, everything you can, Ripley's Believe It or Not. Some of those therapies struggle to be offered in certain jurisdictions, certain states, our country. Sometimes now you have to go to Tijuana to get some cancer alternative therapies, or go to Germany. They have some cutting edge that are old, Thailand, elsewhere around the world. Any political barriers to getting some of your favorite therapies into that pavilion you might build next to the FDA or elsewhere?
I'm sorry, what was the question, Charles?
If you were to put in your dream therapies into your pavilion that you're building, possibly by the FDA or wherever your first one ends up getting built, do some of your dream therapies face political obstacles to being legal?
Well, it's a great question. We think that, for example, a doctor cannot, at this point, doctors have their hands tied for recommending certain therapies, doing certain procedures, but that doesn't mean someone who's not a doctor or not governed by the medical establishment, if it's, let's say, FDA cleared equipment, and you're careful about how to market it, or in the Science Center, there are explanations which people can learn about and then take them into the sessions and not have to discuss it with the practitioners because they already know. I think that we have ways, and with health coaches or PAs, to get around some of that, some of those legal issues.
As a follow-up, it's wonderful. There's always workarounds, these dumb laws, but ideally in our integrated future of conscious capitalism, we can get rid of some of these laws that eventually the dam will break.
I think it will. Yeah.
That would be really great, but it's hard to do. A lot of money at stake.
There is, but I think, part of this is we get going. Look, everything's going to start changing because, I think Dr. Fauci put and World Health and Gates, and these people have put their foot in their mouths too many times, including the FDA and the CDC. I think that President Trump, assuming he's reelected, sees this, Dr. Atlas sees it, and it's going to really work in our favor. When we have science centers that are saying, and with articles from the medical journals, up to 50% of what your doctor is telling you is wrong or could be wrong. It kills all the credibility, and we could add a lot more to them. I mean, we can really make them look bad. I don't want to per se. They've done it themselves. We can just put that information out there, and I think the more press we get, the more people. There's a lot of activism and advocate activism these days with the vaccines and what's going on and people coming together. That I think this will just go in the flow. That's how I see it. So we're going to clear a lot of this stuff out and start fresh, basically.
You know, I see Dr. Bob Campbell is on the show. If he would be kind enough to unmute himself and maybe make a comment. It seems to me with his group of allopathic doctors getting crushed for doing their jobs as frontline doctors, offering hydroxychloroquine with zinc, that what you said is true. The overplaying of the hand by international pharma, Gates and all them, has told the allopaths they're just as much at risk as natural innovators. So why aren't we working together? Dr. Campbell, do you want to make a comment about that?
Yeah, I think that we've come to a point in time that I think I call it the era of post-truth. And we really are losing confidence in so many of our institutions. When I look at any piece of news today, I look at it and say, what's the source? What is the agenda for, if it's a liberal news organization, what is the agenda for a political activist journalist, and what would that person include, and what would they exclude from the piece of news? And I think that the politicians and the institutions of medicine have become too close to each other. And the rules of politics and politicians, which is the truth is just a strategic option, have filtered into some of our medical institutions. So one of the very interesting things is our organization, Free to Care, has 8 million patient advocates and 90,000 physicians. And we're the ones that, at least with the Trump White House, are front and center. And the institutions, the American Medical Association and the specialty groups and the Hospital Association, AHIP, the the health insurance plans, they are just not trusted. So I think you have a unique time and a place, and certainly people have an enhanced sense of wellness. So many people are working from home and will continue to, just because it is now a more acceptable, the technology's made it possible. So you're going to have people who are going to have discretionary time to fit that into their work schedule, have a work balance, work-life balance, and are going to be looking for health options other than simply going to the doctor and getting the 15, maybe 7.5 minute, maybe 15-minute visit. So I think what you're doing is really, kind of special. I don't know how to pull it all off, because you're talking about just really making people well.
It's a long road.
Yeah, it's a global wellness, and it's something that we should strive for. And I would encourage you to, use these. The door is open now in so many ways that it wouldn't have been before. So great work that you're doing.
It's been interesting. Thanks, Dr. Campbell. We have another little medical in on this here. Jane Dolan, who's a nurse, is on here, and she's worked a lot in this naturopathic space. Jane, are you there to put in a little comment or question?
Yes, I am. I mean, this is completely in my wheelhouse as the program director of the Bioregulatory Medicine Institute. We're based in the science of self-healing. This is basically the presentation I would have given if I had the opportunity. So really, really exciting. So I'm just curious, if everything lines up and everything kind of clicks together, when would you see the first one of these centers up and running?
Next year.
Wow. That's incredible. And it, just as an aside, I saw somewhere in your bio that your daughter was injured through a vaccine, and I'm wondering if that has a big part of why you're in this journey and some of the motivation behind this.
No, actually, it doesn't. That just,
Okay.
it's just a bad coincidence, I guess,
Okay.
because I had started before, and then that's why we had religious exemptions for our girls. But I divorced at the time, and my ex said, no, I think she needs it for school. I'm like, no, I don't think she does. And that's what happened.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah, so she, if I didn't say that, yeah, her pancreas stopped working. She was in Denmark, and the doctors there, she collapsed in Denmark. They're Danish American, mom's Danish. And the doctors there said, we think this is this looks like a vaccine injury. So.
well, we're going to, unfortunately, Jim, have to call it quits here at the moment. And we will, of course, continue the conversation. So we're really going to want to take this forward here and get you up on this site here on after today's video gets posted, and we'll carry forward because, of course, and this is good what you're doing, but there's a lot of other good stuff up here too. We need to add you to this mix, obviously.
Can I have one more comment for Jane?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Jane, I did really well till probably I was health-wise. Nothing. I mean, you know, working out. I'm like the healthy guy, and probably when I hit 45 or 50, I mean, all of a sudden everything went. No, I don't know, went wrong. Everything went wrong. My hip started to go. Like I ended up with a surprise bypass surgery, all kinds of stuff. And it was a surprise, literally. The next day they said, you better stay here. But anyway, it's another story. So I had enough experience where I've been able to heal myself a lot of times from issues. And at the same time, have gone through the hospital system, you know, and tried every modality, like for my hip, everything out there to try to take care of myself. Ultimately, I did get surgery on the hip. But I mean, it's been a good journey, a good learning journey, a healing journey, and so on. So.
Very good. Thanks for that little follow-up on that. So as I said, as you can see, Dr. Campbell was on here and stuff. So there's a lot of really good initiatives underway we want to have you all follow up with. Yeah. And just like what you're doing, Jim, and you're like the perfect kind of tangible version of what we've been attempting to do similarly here at the marketplace, is to be able to get a lot of information one single place so the person has a convenient way to get the best of the information that's out there, not have to try to sift through a ton of it or search for hours on the internet to come up with anything.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's really great. And so we're really excited to be a part of it. WOW's been a great connector too, because how do you connect all the doctors together? So there's that mechanism is materialized only in the last couple of years. It's been in development for many years, but synergistically, all of these elements are coming together all in one good, great time window. And then boom, COVID shows up, and here we've got a great opportunity to capitalize on it, like Dr. Campbell said. One of the things that kind of burbled to the surface, and here's kind of a little thing to close out with, is underneath our innovation area, under the marketplace. I'm sorry, I'm losing my own track in here. We have a nutrition immunity area and some other stuff growing. We've found a couple key elements that are high levels of efficacy. Oh boy, that's a hard word to say.
Efficacy, yeah.
Efficacy. It's like that hydroxychloroquine. But then meanwhile, it actually has immediate activity, because that's the other thing. If you can tell if anything's working, does it work right away? Or if you, I got to take it for 3 weeks, I still don't know if it's doing anything. These are allowing you to fight off, immunity and stuff, which is great when you're out and about in the world. And the other is a way to have food in your system if you don't actually have food. So there's some great little things, and there's other things to find out there too. And what they've done for us, which is really pretty exciting, And this is them wanting to help further what you said. We're all trying to make things happen, make a couple bucks in the process, but the goal is to get to some great solutions. Well, they're offering a 15% discount on anything in here, including consultations with their little doctor team and stuff, if you just enter this code. And you'll see there's a ton of great products. Way too many. We only picked two to single out here. But as more and more of this stuff congregates, this is where you'll find it here at this site. So anyway, Jim, I want to thank you so much for spending some unbelievable time with us today.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Thank you.